So last year we ran the Castle E36 all year. Towards the end of the year we started making a little bit faster passes, turning it up a little bit, and accidentally sucked in the boost controller a little bit, and it ate the fitting a little bit. So as you can see, she chewed it up just a hair. So after that I took it off, and I ended up buying a billet wheel for like 200 bucks, super easy, bolt in, go. So I bolted it in, and it was right before a race, so I rushed, and I didn't really listen to it at all because it was actually touching the housing a little bit. The back of the housing had touched some, and it had some burrs in it or whatever it may be, and then it ended up chewing up this wheel as well. I don't know if it'll focus, but yeah, you can see there it dug into it a little bit. So 2 wheels, donezo. But it still ran 10.2 on this junk ass wheel, so it wasn't too bad. But at a rental, that same rental, I went 10.2 like 3 or 4 times, kept turning it up, trying to leave harder, and then I ended up breaking the axle. As you can see, she just totally sheared off there. No go. So we'll be putting in an order for DSS axles here very soon. Those were actually built as well, so they have the larger CV on them. I don't know the exact specs of them, but they're supposed to hold some power. I know a lot of manual guys have been going 9s with them, but for whatever reason, I guess on the trans brake it just wasn't happy, and it just let go. So we have to find some stock axles and send them into DSS and get those bad boys built, and then we'll get those back and throw them in the car. So the car has been running a single Walbro 450. So those last couple passes that I was turning it up, it ended up spiking like 32 psi at one point in time, but most of the time it was up in there around like 28, 30 psi, just as like all out end of the season. If it blows, it goes, whatever you want to call it. But the AFRs were pretty high. Like the duty cycle and injectors was like 100%, and the AFRs were like 13s throughout the pass, so it was pretty bad. So I went ahead and picked up another 450. So I'm going to end up throwing this 450 into the stock fuel hat with the other 450. So that's what I'm going to be messing with today. See if we can't make it work. So basically what we're going to start off with here is to go ahead and drill right here and here. So that can do same thing like this, 2 studs that I can use for power. So I'm gonna go grab the drill and we'll get started on that. So I ended up getting those 2 holes drilled here. I mean, they're not perfectly even, but it'll work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do now is try and thread that hole just to provide a better seal with the studs there, and then throw some E36 safe thread sealant on that, and then we should be good to go. Try and run this in as square as possible. Alright, so it's got a little bit of thread there. Should be enough to help seal it though. I don't know if you can really see it. Not really. Oh well. On to the next one. Same thing. Right, looks good. So I went ahead and got those 2 holes all set up. As you can see, it's all wired in there, all good to go. Have the thread sealant on there, and then the 2 studs at the top. So it should work pretty well. I definitely don't recommend that position. It was kind of a pain in the ass with the sender wiring there. I had to bend it a little bit, but it should be good. So now we just need to figure out how we're going to get them to sit, and then we're going to have to figure out how we're going to route all these submersible PTFE lines to the top and then out the top. So that's next. So I ended up stopping the other night where my last cutoff ended, and then I came back in here today, basically finished the setup. I put it together, so I threw it together a few times just to see if it would fit. And this is what I ended up with. So I mean, there's 2 little worm gear clamps here holding them both together. There's a worm gear clamp up here just to pull the PTFE lines down. And then obviously the PTFE, both of them come into this this Y here, and then they come back up to the top to the feed. And you really don't need to put any clamps on these. I just heated them up and slipped them over. I mean, there's no way they're coming off. You basically have to cut it to get it to come off, but that's what it is, and it fits. It's a pain in the ass to put in there, but it still fits. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in, and I'll take a video once it's all in. Alright, so we ended up getting the hat back in and being able to screw it all on. My best recommendation before you do that is to slide. There's a little rubber gasket that goes around the actual gas tank. Slide it up onto the hat and get it close to where it's supposed to be, because I had it all the way up on the lip and I was sitting there fighting it, trying to get it to fit. So that was the best way that I could get it to go in, was to take the gasket, put it close to the top of the hat, slide everything in, get it all in, and then slide the gasket around the tank and then shove it down. Because when I tried to put the gasket in first, everything kept trying to pull that gasket into the tank when I was trying to shove everything back down into there. So everything's in there, the line's back on. So basically what I have left to do is wire up another fuel pump relay. I'm sure there's a way to make it work with 2 fuel pump, or with a single relay, but I'd rather just get 2 of them just to be safe. So I have one of those laying around, just got to wire it up. And then I guess after that, probably have to set base pressure again, and then we should be good. Yeah, looks like we should be good with after that. Then hopefully we'll be testing it soon.